What if Earth stopped spinning? Right now, you're hurtling through space at over 1,600 kilometers per hour, and you don't even feel it. But if the ground beneath you suddenly stopped, well, you wouldn't. And that's where things get catastrophic. Let's be clear from the start. This is not a survivable scenario for most of us. But let's walk through exactly why, because the physics gets fascinating before it gets horrifying. Right now, as you read this, you're moving fast. The Earth rotates once every 24 hours. At the equator, the surface is traveling at roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour. That's about 1,040 miles per hour. Even if you're sitting in London or New York, you're still cruising at around 1,200 kilometers per hour. You don't feel it because everything around you is moving at the same speed. Now imagine someone hits the cosmic brake pedal. The ground stops. You don't. Everything not firmly attached to the bedrock would continue moving eastward. This includes you, your house, the oceans, and crucially, the entire atmosphere. At the equator, this means instant 1,670 kilometers per hour winds. That's faster than the speed of sound, which is only 1,235 kilometers per hour at sea level. You'd experience supersonic winds without needing an aircraft. For context, the strongest tornado ever recorded had winds around 480 kilometers per hour. Hurricane winds top out around 250 to 300 kilometers per hour. Wind at these speeds doesn't just knock things over, it obliterates them. Buildings wouldn't collapse, they'd disintegrate. The sheer force would rip structures apart at the molecular level. Concrete, steel, wood. None of it matters at these velocities. It's wind-carrying debris. Your neighbor's house becomes a cluster bomb traveling at supersonic speed. Cars become missiles. Every tree, every loose object becomes shrapnel in a planet-wide blender. The only survivors on the surface would be in the extreme polar regions, where the rotational speed approaches zero. Water, as it turns out, also obeys Newton's laws. The oceans would keep moving eastward while the seafloor stopped. We're talking about a wall of water kilometers high, sweeping across every western coastline simultaneously. This isn't a tsunami in the traditional sense. Tsunamis are fast but relatively organized. This would be chaotic, turbulent, and absolutely massive. The entire Pacific Ocean would essentially pile up against the Americas. The Atlantic would drown Europe and Africa's western coasts. The initial surge would travel hundreds of kilometers inland before the water's momentum finally dissipated. Coastal cities wouldn't flood. They'd be scoured clean, bedrock exposed. After the initial catastrophe, things would get weird. The atmosphere, heated by friction with the suddenly stationary surface, would create temperature differentials unlike anything in Earth's climate history. You'd see thunderstorms that make supercells look quaint. The friction would gradually transfer the atmosphere's momentum back to the Earth, very slowly starting it spinning again. But slowly here means geological timescales. We're talking thousands of years before you'd notice a day-night cycle again. Assuming the Earth stopped spinning completely relative to the Sun, we'd have a day that lasts an entire year. 6 months of continuous daylight, 6 months of darkness. On the day side, the surface would bake under constant sunlight. On the night side, temperatures would plummet to hundreds of degrees below freezing. The twilight zone between eternal day and eternal night might be the only habitable band, a narrow strip circling the globe where temperatures remain somewhat reasonable. But even there, you'd face perpetual hurricane-force winds as air constantly flows from the scorching day side to the freezing night side. The moon, our faithful companion, would still orbit Earth. Its gravity would gradually tug on our stopped planet, ever so slowly encouraging it to spin again over millions of years. So in summary, if Earth stopped spinning, nearly everyone dies immediately from supersonic winds and tsunamis. Survivors face eternal baking or freezing, depending on their hemisphere. And we'd need to wait geological time periods for things to maybe improve. Questions? Thanks for learning about this cheerful scenario. Please keep Earth spinning.